Hi, my name is Nicole, and today I'm looking at making some investments. One of the companies that I'm considering investing in is Thames Inc., and the current price of the stock is $55 per share. I want to know whether or not this is a good price to buy the shares of the stock at right now. The company's most recent dividend payments to shareholders was $2.40 per share, and the dividend is expected to grow at a rate of 6% per year. The current risk-free rate is 5%, and the required rate of return on the market is 9%. Based on the company's beta of 1.3, I want to know what the current expected price of the stock is. Using the current expected price, I can determine whether or not I would be willing to pay $55 per share or not. I'm going to think about this problem both manually and using Excel. I'm going to solve the expected price of the stock today using two steps. The first step will be to calculate the required rate of return on this stock using the securities market line equation. So the equation states that the required return on the stock, in this case Thames Inc., is equal to the risk-free rate plus the required rate of return on the market minus the risk-free rate times beta. If I substitute my values in, the risk-free rate is 5%. The required return on the market is 9% minus the 5% here times the beta of 1.3. If I do all that, I see that the required rate of return on Thames Inc. is 10%, 10.2% actually. And that is going to be used in the constant growth model equation to help me solve for the expected price of this stock. In the constant growth model equation, the base equation is that the expected rate of return on the stock, in this case Thames Inc., is equal to the expected dividend payment, the next one, over the price of the stock plus the expected growth rate. Since we're looking for the price of the stock, we're going to rearrange this equation. So the expected price of the stock is equal to the expected dividend, the next one, over the rate of return on the stock, which is Thames, minus the expected growth rate. In this case, I already have the required rate of return on Thames Inc. because I just calculated that value here. The expected growth rate is 6% and was given in the question. The expected dividend can be calculated using the last dividend payment. Last dividend payment was $2.40. The next dividend payment will be $2.40 multiplied by 1 plus the growth rate, which is 6%. So we've got $2.40 times 1 plus 6%. And that's going to give me my next dividend payment, which will be $2.54. I can then use this value to sub into my equation for the expected stock price. So the expected stock price of Thames Inc. will be $2.54, which is the expected dividend payment that we just calculated, over the required rate of return on the stock, which we calculated above here, and that's 10.2%, minus the expected growth rate, which is 6%, and was given in the question. Once we do those calculations, we can see that the expected price of the stock is equal to $60.57. Since the expected rate of $60.57, the expected price rather, is greater than the price that it's being sold at right now, which is $55 per share, I'm getting a bargain by paying $55 per share when it's worth $60.57 per share. So it would probably be a good idea for me to buy shares of Thames Inc. now. Now to solve for the price of this stock using Excel, I'm going to follow the same steps that I did to solve the problem manually. First, I'm going to use the securities market line equation to solve for the required rate of return on the stock. In order to do that, I need the risk-free rate, which was given in the question as 5%. I also need the required rate of return on the market, which was also given in the question as 9%. And I need to know the beta, which was 1.3, and also given in the question. Now that I have all this information, I can calculate the required rate of return on the stock of Thames Inc. That's going to be equal to the risk-free rate plus the required rate of return on the market minus the risk-free rate multiplied by beta. And I can see that the required rate of return on the stock of Thames Inc. is 10.2%. Next, to solve for the actual price of the stock, I'm going to use the expected growth rate, which is 6%. And that was given in the question. I also need to consider the last dividend payment, which was $2.40 per share. The reason that I need the last dividend payment is that I need to calculate the next dividend payment, D1, and put that into the equation of the constant growth model in order to solve for the expected price now. So now that I have the expected growth rate and the dividend that was last paid, I can calculate the next dividend that will be paid by using 1 plus the expected growth rate multiplied by the last dividend payment. So that tells me that the next dividend paid will be $2.54 per share. I also need to use the required rate of return on the stock, which we just calculated, as 10.2%. And then using this information, I can calculate what the expected price should be for Thames Inc. right now. So that's going to be equal to the expected dividend payment of $2.54 per share over the required rate of return on the stock minus the expected growth rate of that stock. Using that formula, I can see that the expected price of the stock is $60.57 per share. Since this is the case, and we would expect it to be worth that much, but they're selling it at a price of $55 per share, that means that they're really asking for less than what this stock would be worth according to the constant growth model. Since they're asking me for less money than what I would expect to pay, I'm getting a bargain by buying it now, so I would be wise to be shares of this stock right now.